Retire at 65. Is it really a dream, or does it sound like an oxymoron? We've been told our whole lives that we need to work hard, climb the ladder, and then retire at the age of 65. But what if that's the biggest lie ever sold to uh, men like myself? I mean, I don't know, but this whole retire at 65, it sounds really outdated, and it's way beyond its time because we live in a whole much different world today than we did a half century ago. And I'm going to keep it real talk. There's going to be no fluff. I'm someone who's still working the corporate grind, and although I despise it, I continue to do it, but I actively am working to get out of it. So that's what I want to talk about in today's video. I spent quite several years grinding away thinking that, just to make it at 65 and everything will be fine. Well, then I started to think that maybe that's not the most ideal path. And I realized how miserable I could be, by looking at it. I have seen time and time again, from seeing relatives like my cousins, or even people who I work at work, they are grinding away just to hopefully maybe retire at 65. But I'm telling you right now, looking at it this way, I think 65 years old can be too late. Well, you really are, it really gets me, uh, what I want to say. I don't get emotional about it, but I go through some bouts of really sadness and depression because I'm almost 35 years old, and I just think that what if I had spent the last 10 years doing stuff that really mattered to me? Or what if I had started wealth building, back in my teens or when I was 18? Because when I look at it, I just, it makes me think all that time that I spent, I could have been doing something else. And had I known today back then, there's no doubt in my mind that I could have made the sacrifices early on. And at this point in time, by all means, I would be in a much better spot. I wouldn't be working a job, and I'd be doing stuff that I would enjoy, and I probably would be semi retired by now. So when I think about this retire at 65, this is by far one of the biggest lies we are ever sold. And it, uh, it really saddens me because I see a lot of young people today. They're going to slave away their lives for the next 20, 30, 40 years, and they're going to be miserable. They're working jobs that they don't hate. Heck, I even know of someone at work who just easily gets bored, and whenever we offer people to leave early because there's no work, she's one of the first few people to leave. So I get it. And so, if you're in your 20s or 30s, now is the time to really think about that hard, because what I am doing is, in a way, I am looking to actively get out of my job, and then hopefully, I would say hopefully, I feel more confident than ever that within the next 5 years or less, that I am going to semi-retire thanks to the multiple streams of income that I will have at the time. They're not enough to, support my living expenses or lifestyle, but it will be in a few years. And that's what really excites me the most. And so, the retire at 65 script, it was sold to a different generation, certainly to my parents and my grandparents' generation. But today, it just keeps us chained to jobs that we hate, while inflation and things like burnout really eat us alive. And I am becoming more disgusted with how the corporate world works today. Because if you think being in corporate benefits you, it doesn't. I mean, you being in the corporate, lifestyle or this corporate world, you are benefiting your employer. Your employer benefits the most because they get to make the most money, and you, although you get paid as well, you're not really getting the best of it. So think of it like a modern day slavery. And as much as that may sound a little bit radical, uh, I do see, work today as modern day slavery, and it certainly is. And so rejecting this lie, it gives us the leverage to stay employed smartly while quietly, building something else, like starting a business, or even for me, I trade. So let's go over some of the key takeaways here. The retire at 65 lie was built for a different world. Back then, there were longer life expectancies, you had pensions, but now with crazy inflation, 65 or retiring at 65 is no longer the golden ticket. Uh, I think it's just a slow death sentence when you start working in your 20s and you're taking your best years away. And then, two, it keeps you loyal to a broken system. Corporate and the old narrative of wanting you to grinding forever for 40 years, doing that instead of building something that actually sets you free earlier. I mean, wouldn't you rather, retire or semi retire like in your 20s? Heck, even in your 30s. I mean, you can save so many years ahead of you. I'm telling you. And then third, the smarter move is just to build your own freedom. Focus on building multiple streams of income. Uh, Focus on low stress lifestyles and look at ways where you can enhance your health, which means getting proper exercise, getting good rest, having a proper diet. All that matters. And if you start this early, you're going to be off to a much better path in life where you're going to live a healthier one and it's going to be more high quality. So, this retire at 65 lie, it's something that has been shoved down our throats for many years, but it's no longer relevant. And if you're someone like me who's in my 30s or you're younger, uh, that is just no longer viable. And so, with that, what I would say is that you don't have to wait until you're too old to be free. I mean, by 65, who knows what you're going to be going through, and you've already lived through your best years. And what? You may have what, 20, 30 years left? Which is nice, but wouldn't it be nice if you could have like a half a century of your life to be free, to do stuff that you want? What if you could retire in your 20s and say, hey, I got the next half century to do stuff that I really enjoy doing, stuff that brings me energy, stuff that makes me passionate and what I really want to do. So I get it. But, you know, I will say that this thing has been bothering me because this is personal to me. And I know that at this time in my life, and when I see people my age going through the corporate grind for no good reason, it bothers me a lot. And I got mixed feelings. It angers me, it pisses me off. I but I also know at the same time that I don't have to live through it. I can choose another route and I can go about it that way. So, and speaking of, I do have an ebook that I came out with not too long ago. It's called Three Paths, Three Prisons, Freedom or Indentured Servitude. And I go over some of the typical paths that most young adults take in life. And I offer an alternative to those three paths and what you can do. And believe it or not, if you were to go with this alternative I have, if you spent the next 4 to 5 years just dedicated to it, and you set the time to do the work, and you work your butt off, and you look at building wealth, then I promise you this: I think the quality of your life will be so much better. And really, this is just my general goal as I put out these videos and I try to reach out to young men, is that I do have another alternative, or there are other paths to life where you can live a much better life, one that is more healthy for you, one where it can make you happier and more fulfilled, and one where you can become wealthy and you can set yourself free to do whatever you want. So if you want to check out that ebook, be sure to grab your free copy of it by clicking on the link in the video description. You can also scan the QR code at the end of this video. But yeah, grab your free copy today to get on the email list. Highly encourage you to read it because there's a lot of good stuff in there, and I think you will be very uh, pleased about what other alternatives are out there. So, but that's all I got for today. I hope this resonates with you. I know uh, something like this, especially for me, it's difficult to talk about because I'm at a point in life where, you know, I don't want to go through this corporate grind anymore because there are better alternatives. So, but other than that, that's all I got for today. And until next time, peace.